let me get into my bag, all right? Because my bag is bag talk.
CNN's chief business correspondent, Christine Romans, is here with us. Christine, okay, if you weren't paying attention on Friday afternoon, you were off work or on a trip, break down exactly what happened here with SVB.
Yeah, the anatomy of a collapse of a big bank and the anatomy of a rescue from the federal government. Let's look at how we got here. First of all, what is SVB? It is the epicenter of tech startups, venture capital, Silicon Valley Bank. It is the 16th largest bank, or it was, in the United States. And this is really the oxygen for technology. The technology sector really goes through SVB. So a very important
reading
bank
super
here.
chats throughout
By
the show.
End of 2022, it had $175 billion in total deposits. And here is the anatomy of the bank run, right? This is how much money it had at the end of the year. Just on Thursday, there were $42 billion in withdrawals from deposit.
Now, I'm in a unique position to be able to have this conversation and break this down to a science from a C student's perspective so that you guys can truly understand this, okay? Why? Because I've been participating in the banking system as far as what it is that I do professionally for a very long time. My job within the banking system is in information technology, but specifically user experience. User experience forces me to do a deeper dive into understanding every other aspect of the bank so that when we create the experiences and the applications and what it is that you see on when you go to the ATMs and when you do these online apps and things like this, whether or not you're just trying to withdraw money or take a deposit or even pay your mortgage, we study other banks, we study other competitors, and then we deep dive into the different aspects of our banks in order to be able to mine out exactly how it is that we can affect and give the best customer service. So I'm in a unique position to be able to break this down. During the pandemic, and while the pandemic was happening from 2020 to beginning all the way through 2022, we had a wild amount of deposits inside of the banks. Now, it's two factors, okay? And this is the thing that they're not going to share with y'all, and this is the thing that they're not going to break down with y'all, but I'm going to break it down for y'all. It's two factors that really played a huge role in what was happening with the banks. A, the pandemic, and there was a lot of free money, and then B, there was an exponential amount of inflation. Now, for those of you that has been following me for the last 2 years and you've been tuned into the Millionaire Morning Show, I broke down what inflation was, how it was affecting you at that particular time, and that it was giving you a false sense of security and that you had more money than you really did. Because while you were begging the government and saying that y'all could have gave that money to the people, it didn't come with any caveats that allowed for you to substantiate exactly what that money was worth. So inflation hit it high of more than 9%, 10%, and for some of y'all in y'all real life, inflation was a lot more than that based off of your lifestyle. Now, if you haven't been following me, let me give you the crash course. Inflation is how much money is continuing to go up, which also devalues the money. When I say devalue the money, I'm saying that it's going to cost you more every single day to do the things that you do every single day, but that backing is not substantiated against anything anymore. Fiat currency, the dollar. Okay, I don't even know if I got any money. Let's see if I got some money. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is not worth the paper that it's printed on. Okay, this is not worth the paper that it's printed on. What gives it its value is two different things. Originally, the value was backed by the U.S. Treasury and what it was that we had in order to substantiate what a dollar was worth. Gold, silver, coins, so on and so forth. As we evolved throughout the industry, our stupid politicians, banking industries, and so on and so forth, what they did was, instead of starting to solve for the initial issues that we had within our economy and making it stronger, they said, we'll just print more money, right? Now, when you print more money, but you don't have anything to back it, the only thing that they have to substantiate the value of this currency is your belief in it. Follow me, y'all. I'm going to break it down to a science for y'all. When you print more money, the only thing to substantiate the value of what it is your belief in it. So they need you to believe that this thing means something to them in order to substantiate the value that we have in it, because the minute that you stop believing in it, then the whole system collapses. And that's why in other countries, you can get $1 million bill and it doesn't even buy you a sack of rice, because they no longer have belief in the currency, because inflation and all these other factors play a huge role in the fact that you no longer substantiate the value of that fiat currency. And so when I tell you guys inside of the Patreon, and this is one of the reasons why I want y'all to join the Bag Chasers, to place your money, cash doesn't mean anything. And you've heard me say this over and over and over and over again. Meanwhile, y'all was sitting there still talking about a money phone, and I'm up here putting all of my money in assets, real estate, things that actually can beat the rate of inflation, because regardless of how high inflation is and how low the value of your money is, all of these assets will continue to keep up with the rate of inflation, because people will still need goods and services in order to survive. Okay? If you do not understand what I'm saying, I have videos that break this stuff down, inflation, all of this other type of stuff, the things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a company, how to reverse snowball in real estate. All of those things are in the Patreon, and it unlocks. You don't have to buy a course. All of those things are in the Patreon. But long story short, I'm giving you the foundation so you understand how the banking industry works. Let me give you another caveat before we start to deep dive into why the banks collapsed, okay? How banks make money. Follow me. I need y'all to pay attention. Pay attention like you never did in college or in high school. How banks make money, and the reason why I keep telling you guys to get out of debt, is that they take your deposits. So follow me. I'm going to go back to why it was so important for us to pay attention to what happened during the pandemic. It was the precursor to what I warned you was going to happen today. I warned you that this was going to happen. They take your deposits. So when she said it was $175 billion in deposits, and they specialize in certain industries, certain credit unions, certain banks, they lend to a specific type of customer. This bank in particular was lending to Silicon Valley. Okay. Other banks, they more focus on mortgages and all of these other things. And then in order to reduce the risk, they buy and sell mortgages based off of tranches and how it is that they see the industry playing out depending on how big the feds raise the rates. So a lot of y'all said in college and in high school, what do I care about math and numbers? We're not going to be able to use it. Well, now it's more imperative than ever, because the apocalypse is at hand and you don't even know it, because you're going to work every day and you don't even realize you're going to be blaming your job and the banks in order for you to lose your job, because you didn't understand how money works and how it was that you was able to prepare yourself for the coming apocalypse. So this is how it plays out. Banks take the deposits that were overwhelming because they were giving out free money and running up inflation, which then prevented you from being able to find adequate housing. They take the deposits, right? And then they take that money and they lend it out to the rest of everybody else, but they charge interest on top of it. You have a house. You have a house. You get a 30-year mortgage at 4, 5, 6, 7%, right? And then when you paying your mortgage, they front load it to where you paying down the principal slowly but surely. But while you're paying the interest, by the time you pay off the house, you're gonna more than pay 3 times of the value of that house before it's over. So instead of you trying to get rid of it, you're continuing to take it in and pay off interest, which then makes the banking industry profitable. So every time you look at your mortgage and you paid, $1,200 in interest and $300 towards the principal, that $1,200 is free money. Now, how do banks collapse? How do they find themselves in a space to where it absolutely erodes to the point to where they're collapsing, and then the government is trying to back the financial system in order to give you more confidence in where it is that you spend your money so that you don't put it under your mattress? Banks collapse because, ta-da, credit, subprime lending, people going into business and then no longer being able to pay their bills, risk, businesses being lent to. Why do you think that they don't want to lend to black people or black businesses? Because just because they won't allocate more money in order to substantiate more black businesses, because they're taking a calculated risk, knowing that the average business, especially when you're in a black community, the Hispanic community, so on and so forth, fails within the first 2 years, and the bank never get their money back. So it's not that they don't care about black businesses. They don't care about your ability to be able to pay them back. Subprime lending then allows for them to take more risk, because then they're going to charge you more interest with the possibility that you're going to default on your payment. And so it's all one cyclical game. Credit is the gamification to determine whether or not you're going to be a good buyer or a lender. And they want to give more money out, but they want to try to be more calculated on how they're going to do it. The problem is, once you start having an apocalypse, like this manufactured raising of the rates in order to try to lower inflation, because the value of your money is becoming worthless, and you guys are not listening and buying assets that allows for you to be able to keep up with the rate of inflation, what happens is you start seeing these layoffs, and then when Microsoft lays off, and Meta lays off, and Amazon Web Services lays off, and then Ford and Chrysler and GM and Tesla, and then Elon Musk go and buy Twitter, and they say that, listen, we're not paying a mortgage over that shit, but then this guy got a mortgage on this huge commercial building, and he can't make the payments, but then they can't make payroll. What do you think starts to happen? It all trickles up back into the banking system, because they are largely dependent on everything working in tandem in order for them to be able to get their payments from everybody that's trickling down. Okay? Are y'all understanding from a C student's perspective how the banking industry works? If you don't get it, I'm suggesting that you rewind what it is that I'm telling you so that you can understand how it all works together and why they then say the banks are too big to fail. Part of the reason why they say the banks are too big to fail is because we don't make anything anymore. We become so dependent on easy money, which is we don't have to do nothing but give you some free money and you some free money and you some free money in order to keep you in this system, in this perpetual cycle, and that you're going to continue to borrow until you can't anymore, which is why they then extend the payments from 60 months to 72 months to 84 months. And now people are taking 96-month loans and they're still defaulting on them because they have to keep the system rolling, because we don't make anything that we can then export in order to bring in more money. We're just lenders now. That's it. Borrowers and lenders. And so what the Biden administration is trying to do is they're trying to hurry up and capitalize off of what Trump was already trying to do in the first place, which is bring goods, services, and manufacturing, which is one of the reasons why we had a trade war with NAFTA, in which we renegotiated with China. Or China, that's a whole nother trade war. But NAFTA was the North American Free Trade Agreement in which we renegotiated with Canada and we renegotiated with Mexico, because we wanted to have more manufacturing facilities, but they had to incentivize companies to build here. But it's too late, because they raising rates at the same time while they're trying to race to have the CHIPS Act and then be able to get this stuff back up. And then we trying to have the infrastructure and the Build Back Better plan. And so they try to tax rich people to get more people building and working and doing things, because they already see the collapse and what's happening within the banking system. So now Biden has to, and I'm about to play this video, Biden has to come and reassure the general public so that y'all don't hurry up and run to the banks and pull all of your money out and do like this. This is how banking works. This is why they say banks are too big to fail. And you know how they're going to reinsure that you have confidence in the bank and why Biden is going to get up there? We're going to play the video. Is that they're going to print more money for you guys to continue to have confidence in the banking system, which also continues to increase inflation and goes against what it is that they're doing as far as raising rates. So they don't know how to manage money and bank effectively, because they're so busy trying to satisfy you as a voter instead of doing the thing that's in your best interest. It's supposed to hurt now so it doesn't absolutely destroy us later. You know how you give your kid a whooping? You give your kid a whooping so that it sticks with them later, and then society don't have them locked up in prison. It's the same concept that we're supposed to be implementing within our households, financial discipline. But y'all hoes is so busy trying to find a dude with an 800 credit score that don't even have any assets. And instead of trying to understand how money works so that you can align yourself with somebody that's actually doing the work and going in the direction that you're going in. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. See, here's the thing that they're not going to tell you. What rich people is not going to tell you. They're not going to give you this game because they're going to make you pay for it. They're going to make you pay for this. We had to suffer, go to school, open up businesses, fail, become successful, employ people to better understand exactly what it is that I'm telling you right now. I'm giving you the crash course because I love you. I know that y'all don't like me because of it, because you're going to say Anton liked the stunt. Fuck what it is that you feel about me. Pay attention to what I'm saying so that you can better understand exactly what's happening within the banking industry and how it's going to totally destroy everything that you... Listen, the next collapse is going to be worse than 2008, and you're not going to be prepared for it. This is why the Biden administration is coming into the forefront, and they're saying, let me reassure everything that's happening within the banking system and the voters, because if everything go to shit, it's going to be 10 times worse than what happened in 2008. Hear me out. If you are hoarding cash and you have a bunch of money in savings, and I've been telling y'all this for the last 3 years almost. I tell y'all on a coaching call, y'all say, Anton, but I'm so scared of letting this cash go. If you are not buying assets, reducing your liabilities, reducing your lifestyle in order to prepare to capitalize off of what's about to happen, you are very, very much going to be distraught, dismayed. Homelessness is running rampant, and it's going to be 10 times worse than ever. If the Biden administration doesn't get confidence back in the banking system immediately, in order to buy himself some time to be able to somehow, some way bring goods, services, manufacturing, infrastructure, and get people back working to do things that they're supposed to do, it is going to be gnawing and gnashing of the teeth, and it is going to be bad. Trust me, I'm telling you. Hear me out. Nobody can break this down the way that I break it down, because I'm from the streets. I'm from the hood. I was raised in the inner city of Detroit. I went to all of their schools and their universities. I went to their private schools. I heard the way that they talk. They don't want you to have this information because they're going to capitalize off of it. It's a lot of people that think that they know about money and they have no clue. They cannot stand in front of me, and that's why they fear us. They fear people like me, because then I'm going to expose the truth behind what it takes in order to be successful. And it's going to upend everything that they were trying to sell to you in the first place, because they don't want you to be free. They don't want you. Slavery in 2023 is debt. It's not the plantation. It's not cotton. It's your slavery to the gamification of having a great credit score. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent. I got to break it down. I'm going to go ahead and play the video a little bit more for y'all, because I know y'all need that visual representation in order to better understand what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is that you need to share this video. If there's no other video that I've ever done on a Millionaire Morning Show, you need to share this video with your friends and family so that you can better understand what's happening and prepare yourself. And I'm not saying to prepare yourself to survive. That's not what we do at the Millionaire Morning Show. It's going to be winners and it's going to be losers. The middle class is going away, and it's going to be people that win by capitalizing off of everybody else's pain. Don't be the person that's being pained. Be the person that's capitalizing off of what, because it's got to happen. You're going to have to choose a side. You're going to have to choose a side, whether you're going to be a winner or a loser. The winners are going to buy everything up at a discount as a result of y'all losing everything and going homeless, not being able to provide for your family. And then inflation for you is going to die, is going to kill you. And then y'all going to say tax the rich, and then the middle class is going to completely go away as a result of it. Let me play a little bit more of this video. I'm reading super chats after the show.
Right? So something happened here where people wanted to take their money out, and this bank unraveled here. So what happened? Why did they get there? Well, this is a company that for years took deposits in the good times when interest rates were very low, and it grew and grew and grew. And those deposits grew, and it put that money into long-dated treasuries, into safe, super safe treasuries, right? So this is how much they had.
Read super chat shortly.
2022, $128 billion worth of treasury. Look, that is amazing how much it gained. But then as things started to go south, when interest rates were rising, those were less valuable, and the company actually was selling those treasuries at a loss. When
interest rates go up, they then have to sell it at a loss, right? How does interest rates go up? Well, these boring quarterly Fed rate hikes that they're doing at 3 basis points, 2 basis points, 0.5%, 25%, Now that it's getting to a point to where it's costing you more to be able to borrow money every single day, it becomes less profitable for the banks. Now, those little bitty interest rate hikes, they kill banking profits, because then you will have less confidence in being able to borrow, because you can't afford to buy a house anymore, because then you can't afford to pay for what the prices are that people are unwilling to sell for you, because they bought the house at X and they can't go below X in order to be able to stay profitable. They can't go below X. So what happens is it's a stalemate. Rates continue to go up because the Fed has no choice, because they got to raise, because inflation is too high. Price of chicken is too high. Price of gas is too high. So they got to raise the rates. They have to manufacture a recession. They just don't know how bad it's going to be.
That word got out. People got nervous. The stock in the bank started to decline. Depositors started to withdraw their money. They were also withdrawing their money because technology, that sector, was in a downturn, right? And so instead of putting money into the bank, depositors were taking money out of the bank, and the bank could not sustain it.
Their confidence, consumer confidence, is the only thing that allows for banks to be able to survive. Consumer confidence. The minute that people got word, because trust me, it's people at the top that already knew what the hell was going on, and they told all of their little friends and everything like that. And the minute that people got word of something that was going on, you know what they did? The people that were in the know, that had friends of friends that knew what was going on, they raced to go and take all of their money out of the bank, because they wasn't waiting on Biden to try to come save y'all.
Come to the rescue, the United States government. The FDIC is going to insure up to $250,000 in normal times, and now you're going to have this facility so that above that level, everyone will be made whole. Not the.
Now, think about this. When you go and sign up for a bank account, right, they have tiers. And the tiers are, listen, Mr. Daniels, if you open up a business account, you can waive the monthly fee. Well, why would they say that? Because they know if you're only keeping $500, $600, $700 inside of your bank account, and you're not doing transaction, which they then have partnerships with the credit card companies in order to pay them, which is why your card says Visa, MasterCard, so on and so forth. They don't make any money from you, right? They don't make any money from you. And so what they do is they have tiers, and they say, well, if you get the platinum checking account, which requires you to get direct deposit, which is a better chance for them to have a higher balance, which then allows for them to be able to lend out more money, then you can waive the fees. And if you keep at least $2,000 in there, then you get this benefit. And if you keep $5,000 and $20,000, and if you want to have an account in which you can trade, you can day trade in it, then you have to have a minimum of at least $20,000, $25,000 in there in order to be able to cover short calls and all of this other type of stuff. And then it starts to get a little bit more complicated, right? It gets a little bit more complicated. But when you go and you sign up for these bank accounts and these brokerage accounts and things like that with these banks, right? You never read the fine print where it said that this is FDIC insured up to $250,000 per deposit. Well, why? Because we've never had the banking system fail to where people couldn't get their money out. And so now that everybody is losing billions and billions of dollars because of this banking collapse, because money is just magically disappearing in thin air, the Biden administration is looking to pivot and then insure people by saying, listen, we're going to have to cover more than that because people need to be able to pay payroll. And all these companies had all of this money because they was doing banking with them, especially these technology companies. And we can't let the technology sector fail, because what does technology produce? Nothing. It produces no real tangible asset. And so as a result, they can't afford for it to fail, because it's the largest way in which we make our money within the United States of America. And so the Biden administration is going to say, we're going to cover all of the money now, not just the $250,000 per account for FDIC insured. Let's pivot from this really quickly, and let's see what Biden's specific talking points were when it comes to the Silicon Valley and another bank that just recently collapsed on top of it.
I want to briefly speak about what's happening in Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence.
I'm reading super chats right after this. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for supporting the platform.
That the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
Think about what I'm telling y'all. The very first thing that he says is, listen, the banking system is safe. Look at this, guys. It still says in God we trust on the back of this thing. It still says it. The banking system is safe. It's safe. Hey guys, the banking system is safe. Listen, behind the scenes, they don't sweat when it comes to war. They don't give a fuck when it comes to Ukraine. They not tripping when it comes to running over and taking over another fucking country. The thing that keeps these motherfuckers up at night is the banking system. I'm telling you. Y'all think it's systematic oppression that they give a fuck about whether or not black people get educated? No, they give a fuck about whether or not black people go to school so that they can take out debt to continue to support the banking system that then allows for you to be able to be tied to the Democratic Party. It's all about money. It all comes back to money. If you want to understand politics, you need to understand how money works. If you want to understand what's happening in your neighborhood, you need to understand how money works. If you want to understand the family dynamic and whether or not feminism is really making sense as far as the profitability that goes in the family court and all of these other sectors that then feed into what's happening within our system, you need to understand how money works. The first thing he said is, hey guys, the banking system is safe. The banking system is safe. The banking system is safe. He didn't say, hello, guys. He didn't say, he usually walk in like he owned the fucking place. The first thing he said was, hey, guys, listen, the banking system is safe. We got you. We got you. The banking system is safe. Listen to what's being communicated, not just what's said to you.
All businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. Last week, when we learned of the problems of the banks and the impact they could have on jobs of small businesses and banking system overall, I instructed.
Do you really think that they just learned about it? If you found out last week, how long do you think that they know? If you found out last week, do you really believe the words that is coming out of this man's mouth and that he has the most intelligent people in the fucking face of this earth behind the scenes feeding him information and working on his behalf with all the intelligence systems that he has going on, and you think he just found out the same day that you found out? You think he just found out the same day that you found out? Okay.
To my team to act quickly to protect these interests. They've done that. On Friday, the government regulator in charge, the FDIC, took control of Silicon Valley Bank's assets. And over the weekend, it took control of Signature Bank's assets. Treasury Secretary Yellen and a team of bank.
Why is it so ironic that the banks are starting to collapse one by one, back to back? Now, I will give y'all a little bit of insight. Banks fail all the time. The sixth largest bank in the fucking United States of America don't fail like that, though. Small banks fail all the time, but they don't have enough assets for it to really resonate on a large scale as far as the news and then rattle the markets and then ultimately rattle your confidence as a consumer in the banking system, which then prevents them from being able to really be able to run the government the way that they're supposed to. Small banks fail regularly. I know a lot of y'all like to have all of these dumb conversations where y'all say, we need our own black banks. Boy, you don't even understand how money works. How you going to have a black bank? So we could lend to black people. Cool. So your bank can collapse the same way that this bank over here collapsed and that bank over there collapsed because it's still a business. And if you don't understand how money works, then you are going to be at the tail end of this conversation trying to figure out where the fuck your money went. Just because it's black don't mean that we need to do it. You need to have the understanding that go along with it.
Banking regulators have taken action, immediate action. And here are the highlights. First, all customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured. I want to rest assured they'll be protected.
Have to instill the confidence.
Have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by.
Boy, if they not trying to instill confidence, let me tell you something. The minute that a peep came out of these banks that these banking systems were failing, it was like $47 billion withdrawn from the bank that That's what caused it to collapse. News, information is what, and now we have information that travels faster than ever. That's where the collapse came, because the confidence is eroded. The collapse comes with the lack of confidence within the banking system.
By the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the deposit insurance fund. Because of the actions that our regulators have already taken, every American should feel confident that their deposits will be there if and when they need them.
Now, what he's trying to tell you and what he's secretly trying to communicate to you is he's instilling confidence by saying that, hey guys, this is not going to come at a cost to you. These banks are paying these depositor fees. So it's almost like unemployment insurance for the banks, just in case one of them fail. We got this. Don't worry. Keep putting your money in the banks. Keep throwing your money in the banks. They're not going to tell you how to do the thing that's in your best interest, because then it wouldn't be in their best interest. Now, a lot of you going to say to me, Anton, well, where is it that we supposed to put our money if we not putting it in the banks? Because they've already tied you literally to the bank. It's probably not one person in this chat that get a physical check. You guys, and even if you get a physical check, it's still coming from another bank. All of y'all got direct deposit. All of y'all got debit cards. All of y'all got credit cards, and all of y'all got debt. So you're intimately tied into the banking system, which then makes you vulnerable to what's happening within society. Anton, where should we put our money? Well, here's the question that you really should ask yourself. What is it that I've been telling you for the last 2.5 years about assets? Limiting the amount of debt that you are using in order to be able to pay these banks and to pay the servicers of these mortgages, the servicers of these credit cards, the servicers of these student loan debts. What? Listen. Why do you think that they still have a moratorium and a pause on student loan payments? You think that they doing that because they care about you? They can't have two different problems at the same time that would then cause for the collapse of the consumer confidence within the banking system and what's happening within society. Listen, if you have an eroded amount of confidence because you don't have the ability to be able to even pay your bills, which is largely funded by the idea that they sold you that higher education is supposed to cost more so that you can make more money in the end. But then your inability to even be able to pay your bills because your employer don't even have access to what it is that they need to pay you with. When you have two huge things collide at the same time, there is no more consumer confidence, because people only care about survival at that point. They stop going on trips. They stop buying shit. They stop going to events. They stop doing the thing that actually is generating the most revenue, because it's transactions here and there that's then driving the American economy, because, ta-da, we don't actually make anything anymore. We don't make anything anymore. We don't make anything anymore to the point to where we're not even really manufacturing cars anymore. You know why dealerships is going away? Why Elon Musk is so prevalent? Because Elon Musk is capitalizing off of the idea that we don't make anything anymore. It's over-the-air updates. You don't even have to take your car into the dealership anymore in order to get an update or to get it serviced. They did away with spark plugs. You don't even have a fucking engine in your car no more. You don't even have to go and get an oil change. Dealerships largely made more money off of the services than they did off selling you the actual cars. But dealerships is going away. The models is going away. Everything is manufactured, and it's all based off of consumer confidence, which is why Biden is sitting in front of you with more incentive to instill his job. Let me tell you what Biden's job is. His job is to sell you. He's not doing anything differently for you. He's not helping you. He's not actually giving you any information that allows for you to be more successful. He's not passing any laws. He's not writing any policies. And he barely can even read the teleprompter to tell you what's going on with the banking industry the way that I'm breaking it down for you right now. His job is to sit up here like a puppet and to sell you on the idea of consumer confidence, and to continue to do the thing that you've been doing for the extended period of time, because all they're doing is kicking the can down the road. They don't fix anything. They don't help you do anything. Their job is literally a salesperson. He's on here selling you on having more confidence within the banking industry. He is no different than any other executive for any major corporation that is governed by a board that then is trying to instill confidence in the shareholders and the people that work for him in order to keep the company afloat. Except for his company is much bigger. He's nothing more than a puppet for the people. And y'all sitting here arguing every single fucking day about Orange Man bad, Biden good, but you really don't even understand how money works and how things are being affected within your own community because you are sold every single day based off of a narrative. Listen to how he about to sell you. Watch the sales pitch.
Second, the management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore.
The
Third,
banking managers are going to be fired. We're going to hold these people accountable. Consumer confidence, make people feel good, give them a sense of peace within themselves, put somebody up on a stake and a knife so that you can say that, oh man, we're going to hold somebody accountable. Burn them at the stake.
Investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
Oh,
and
really?
Fourth, there are important questions of how these banks got into the circumstance in the first place. We must get the full accounting of what happened and why those responsible can be held accountable.
We got to get the full accounting to understand what happened with these banks so that we can hold these people accountable. Let me ask y'all a question. How many banking executives, come, let's do a little bit of history. How many banking executives actually went to jail as a result of what happened during the 2008 collapse? Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to leave that as trivia for y'all. How many banking executives actually went to jail as a result of the 2008 collapse? Boom, 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 boom.
In my administration, no one is above the law.
Nobody's above the law.
And finally,
Nobody.
we must reduce the risks of this happening again. During the Obama-Biden administration, we put in place tough requirements on banks like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, including...
So during the Obama-Biden administration, they put in tough requirements for Silicon. You talking about the bank that literally just collapsed last week. You put in tough federal regulations and requirements to prevent this from happening and to foresee this happening. I'm sorry, you talking about the 6th largest bank in America that you said was too big to fail. You talking about one of the banks that you actually gave a bailout to back in 2008. Follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
The DoddFrank law to make sure that the crisis we saw in 2008 would not happen again. Unfortunately, the last administration rolled back some of these requirements.
Oh, it was the last administration that did it. Oh, Trump rolled back the requirements. So it's his fault. But you gonna fix it, right? Trump rolled back the requirements that you guys said in 2008 in order to prevent this from happening. But Trump rolled back. They did it. Listen, bad Orange Man bad. They did it. We here to save the day and fix it for you guys.
I'm going to ask Congress and the banking regulators to strengthen the rules for banks to make it less likely this kind of bank failure would happen again.
Less likely.
And to protect American jobs and small businesses. Look, the bottom line is this. Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe.
Yeah.
Your deposits are safe.
Reassuring.
Let me also assure you, we will not stop at this. We'll do whatever is needed.
Whatever needed, guys.
On top of all that, let's also take a look at a moment to put the situation in a broader context.
Okay, help us.
We've made strong economic progress in the past 2 years.
You got it.
We've created more than 12 million new jobs. More jobs in 2 years than any president has ever created in a single 4-year term.
Now, why are we not talking about the banks, and what the fuck is he talking about jobs? What does... Sir, respectfully, and I only say this respectfully because you're the president of the United States, right? What the fuck are we talking about? What are we The banks is fucking collapsing one by one, and you sitting here talking about creating fucking jobs? What are you talking about, man? Is this your hero? Is this your hero? What is he fucking talking about? What does this have to do with the price of potatoes in China?
Unemployment is below 4% for 14 straight months. Take-home pay for workers is going up, especially for lower and middle-income workers. And we've seen record numbers of people apply to start new businesses, more than 10 million of them. More than 10 million applications over the last 2 years starting businesses. Now we need to keep this progress going. That's what swift action that my administration over the past few years is all about. Protecting depositors, protecting the banking system, protecting the economic gains we've made together for the American people. Thank you, God bless you, and may God protect our troops. See you in California.
Who wrote this speech? Who wrote this speech? What does this have to do with anything of what's happening? Do you know what the markets is fucking doing right? Let me pull up the markets. You know what the markets is doing right now? I don't even know if I got it on this phone. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. This is insane. What the hell are we talking about? It's almost like the more that I know, the less I want to know as a result of it. Y'all know what the markets is doing right now? First thing I see on here. Banks, stocks plunge, banks feel pressure, fallout, bank collapse. Is your retirement safe? Biden's tax hikes on high earners unlikely to make it through Congress. Charles Schwab stocks drop amid financial freakout. Sorry y'all can't see that. I'm sorry y'all can't see that. This man is literally a walking catastrophe, and y'all just gonna continue to follow him. Y'all gonna continue to follow him right on down that alcohol river into the sludge fest. This shit is insane.